Hi folks, Vince here again with some more rust hunting finds. Today I've got a box lot from an auction. If you're familiar with these, basically the auction house just takes boxes and fills them up with all kinds of miscellaneous junk, things that are usually not valuable enough to sell on their own, so they just combine them with all kinds of stuff. Often it'll be cleaning out a cabinet or a desk. They'll just dump the contents of a drawer into a box, and you buy everything for one price. You never really know what you're going to find. Sometimes you can look through the box beforehand, and other times you just have to kind of take your chances. So let's take a look at what we've got here today. Most of the items in this box lot are related to metalworking or machining. Not really much woodworking stuff here, but still some good things. Starting with this lot of tool bits. These are all high-speed steel tool bits, all American-made, older ones. Cleveland Momax, Circle C, Latrobe. Nothing super exciting. Other than these three here, these are a little different. These are Stellite, and Stellite is a trade name for a cast alloy type of cutting tool. Sort of in between the high-speed steel and carbide in terms of hardness and toughness. These are used to cut really hard types of steel. You don't see them as much anymore because carbide's pretty much taken over, but they were fairly expensive when new, and one way to identify them if you are ever picking up a lot of tools like this is that they're not magnetic, so have a little magnet, it won't stick to it, yet it'll stick to the high-speed steel ones. Another giveaway is they often have a notch on one end, and they're designed to cut in one direction, so I can never remember if the notch is supposed to be facing up or facing down, but you're supposed to use them in a certain direction. So there were several trade names for this cast alloy type of cutting tool. Tanton is another, Stellite Tanton, Black Alloy, Rex Alloy. So several manufacturers that made a version of this. So if you come across one, I suggest picking it up and just trying it out, see if you like it. All right, next up are a couple of V-blocks. These are both made by Starrett, but they're different sizes. These are usually were sold as in pairs, but unfortunately these are two singles that don't match. But they're used to hold round objects for drilling or milling. This one has a clamp that fits over it so that you can clamp the object down. You can slide it, it just slides in some grooves here, and then you tighten it down and hold it in place. This one has a small notch, or they both do. They have a small notch on one face and then a larger notch on the other for different sizes of work pieces. And they're machined, precisely machined ground square on the faces and the ends, so you can use them, you know, standing on end too as well. Nice to have. Starrett always makes good stuff, so even though they're just singles, they're coming useful. All right, another V-block here. This one's actually quite a bit bigger, just by comparison. That's the little Starrett one. This one is shop made, although Starrett did make one similar to this, but you can tell it's shop made because it's got the person who's made it has put his name on it, and it's used to hold larger objects, of course. Would have originally had a clamp that would fit in here, and the sides of the clamp fit in this recess so that you could actually have something clamped and then set it on edge like that, and the clamp wouldn't protrude, so you could set it flat. It's drilled through for hold down studs if you want to clamp it to a milling table. I'll clean it up. I don't have one like this, so I might find a use for it. Okay, more V-blocks. Here's a pair of V-blocks, and these are designed to be used with a magnetic chuck, which I don't have, so I probably won't end up keeping these, but at least there's a pair of them. I started cleaning up this one already over here. This one's still a little grimy, but I'll clean them up so that they're both nice and shiny like that. All right, got a planer gauge here. If you've seen any of my other videos, you've known that I found a couple of these already. This one is made by Brown and Sharp. The other two that I have, one is a Starrett and one is a Lufkin. So each one is actually kind of different, just in slight differences in design. But basically these are used to set up tool bit heights on shapers and planers. But you can use them for a lot of other setup layout type things. This one even came with the box. It's pretty ratty looking, but that's the original box. It has some rust on it, but it should clean up okay. And I'll probably have to decide which one of these I want to keep between this and the Lufkin. Those two are about the same, so I'll probably only keep one of them. Well, this looked to me like it was a shop-made item. Maybe somebody decided to try to make their own planer gauge. You've got the two sections here that slide together on that sort of dovetail groove there. Needs some kind of a bolt to fasten it down, but looks like somebody started a project and never quite finished it, and I can relate to that. I think these are also shop made. There are a couple of setup angles. One stamped 35 degrees and 25 degrees. I'm not sure what exactly they were used for, but obviously to set something at those two angles. So I don't know if I'll have a use for these or not, but I'll clean them up and see how accurate they are. Now there was a set of engineer squares. No names on these, so I don't know if they're probably just made in Japan or India or something. Haven't really tested them to see how accurate they are, but I like these little squares. They're good for setups. I actually use them for woodworking too, because they're just handy to get into little places like setting up returning your table saw blade to 90 degrees. They're just fairly small and easy to use, and they stand up on their own, so they're nice to have. I'll clean these up and see if I can't use them, if not in my metalworking shop, then in my wood shop. Another shop-made tool of some sort. I'm not exactly sure what this is. I think it might be a holder for some kind of a die grinder or a Dremel tool, something that you can clamp the tool up in here. This is two pieces, so you can clamp the tool up in here, and then I think this probably fits into a tool post on a lathe so that you can have sort of a makeshift tool post grinder set up on your lathe. I don't know if I have anything that'll fit in that opening, so this may end up getting recycled or just pitched. This is a sign bar. Came in a box. It's made in Japan. And this is used to set angles, to lay out angles. And it uses the principles of trigonometry. Essentially, it's 5 inches from center to center here. And if you set gauge blocks underneath here, you can consult trig tables, and it'll tell you how high you need to set this in order to get a certain angle. And you can actually get pretty accurate setting things up this way. I've never actually used one of these, but I've watched some YouTube videos of guys using them, and it's pretty amazing how such a simple tool you can get really close with it. So kind of interesting. I don't know that I'll actually use it much, but I'll probably play around with it a little bit. Well, I've got 3 centering heads for combination squares. This looks like maybe it's for a 6-inch smaller square, and these are probably for regular 12-inch ones. No maker's names on any of these, but this one did have a patent number and a patent date, so I looked it up, and this is a Brown and Sharp. The patent relates to, there's a couple of little screws here and little screws on the end here, and that allows you to, I guess, to adjust it so that it comes out perfectly square. You put your ruler in here, and then you can adjust these screws to make sure that it's dead on square with the ruler. Kind of unusual, hadn't seen one like that before, so I learned something. All right, just a simple compass here. I actually really like this style of compass though, because it just takes a regular old number 2 pencil, and they're really stout and sturdy. You set it to the diameter you need, and then tighten that down, and it doesn't move on you or go anywhere. So I have one similar to this that's a Starrett. This one has a maker's name on it, but I can't make it out. The stamp is just too faint. It's not Starrett, but it's still good quality, and I think once I clean this one up, I'll probably end up keeping this one and maybe get rid of the Starrett, because they seem to go for unusually high amounts of money. I don't really understand why. Probably just because it has that Starrett name on it. Okay, getting down to the bottom of the box here. This, I had to look this up. It's marked Adel Tool Company. It's some kind of a sheet metal notching tool. I don't really know how it's supposed to be used or if it's all there or not. From what I could tell, it didn't seem like it was super valuable, so if I can't find out any more about this, it will probably go into the trash. This is the last item. I don't know why these were in there. A pair of horseshoes. Only thing I can think of is they're thrown in for good luck. Just make sure you turn them upside down so the luck doesn't run out. But we could all use some of that. So hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.